Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football Freshman Spotlight Series, going back to the 2024 cycle and kind of circling back to some of my favorite prospects from the 2024 year, but I think also more importantly, kind of highlighting some freshmen that I think have the opportunity to play a lot during their freshman year, heading down to the Miami Hurricanes and talking Zaquan Patterson. Miami Hurricane fans who've been rocking with the fellas for really the last 12 months know Zaquan Patterson was one of my favorite prospects in the 2024 cycle. And not only was Zaquan Patterson one of the best prospects Miami brought in the 2024 cycle, I also think he's a prospect that has the opportunity to get on the field early and often for the Miami Hurricanes, where you got to take a look at a couple of different things. One, are they going to have the opportunity in terms of the depth chart shakeout? You look at guys like Justin Scott or wide receiver JoJo Trader, guys that I think are phenomenal football players, but, might not have the opportunity to play a ton as freshmen just because of how loaded Miami is at those positions. You look at Zaquan Patterson, that is the part of this Hurricanes team that we have some question marks about. Zaquan Patterson has the opportunity to work his way onto the field during year one of his college football career, but I think you also have to look at the physicality standpoint. You look at Zaquan Patterson. We said this way back when he committed to Miami. This is a kid that, from a physicality standpoint, is ready to play year one at a college football level. He is put together. He's a big, strong athlete that has some premier athleticism. I think the last thing that I would add is, Zaquan Patterson has been playing varsity football since his freshman year. So he has a lot of experience playing football, which no doubt will help get on the field as a freshman. Want to take a look at some of the film from the senior year and kind of just talk about the different roles that Zaquan Patterson could play for this Miami Hurricanes program. Fired up to get into it. Before we do, and as always, just want to say thank you to you guys and to the Miami Hurricane fans. We obviously talk a ton of this program on the recruiting trail. One, because you guys just show a ton of support. Number two, I love talking about this program. This freshman spotlight series is going to be really fun because there's a lot of freshmen that I like for this Miami Hurricanes program. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Much more importantly, would love to hear some freshmen that you guys think we should dive into over the next couple of weeks. And without further ado, let's get into Zaquan Patterson. I think where you want to start with Zaquan Patterson is the versatility that he brings. This is exactly what we talked about when he committed to Miami out of high school. Zaquan Patterson can play a ton of different positions in the back end of this defense, right? We think he can play that nickel role. He can play that strong safety role, that box safety that's playing kind of in that tackle box. I also think he has the athleticism in the range to kind of play a free safety role as well. So you first start with, when you're that versatile and you have the ability to do so many different things, that's going to help you get on the football field relatively early. And I think the conversation you got to have is take a look at the depth chart for Miami. And you kind of look at, we kind of know our cornerbacks, at least in my opinion, are probably locked up with Daryl Porter Jr. and Damari Brown. And then outside of that, you look at your safeties and your nickels and say, Michel Powell is probably the only bona fide guarantee starter as we head into fall camp. Now, Michel Powell, I think, is at his best playing the nickel role. That being said, could play the safety spot as well. You look at Zaquan Patterson, probably another guy that might be at his best playing nickel, but certainly could play safety, especially a safety that's coming down into the tackle box, kind of playing that box safety role. And you look at Isaiah Taylor coming in from Arizona. You look at Jaden Harris, Markeith Williams, guys that we feel okay about, but I don't think we're looking at any of those players and saying Zaquan Patterson can't push those guys for some starting opportunities during the 2024 season. I think the reason I want to highlight Zaquan Patterson is if he's a freshman that is ready to go and kind of play to the level like Ruben Bain did as a true freshman, that's massive for this Miami Hurricanes team because that's really the only question mark on paper with this depth chart that we have. Now, I think the more fascinating part of this conversation is getting into Zaquan Patterson and why I think he can get on the football field early. That's the versatility that he consistently put on the film during his senior year. And you go back to the spring game for the Miami Hurricanes, he was kind of playing all over the field. He would play that free safety role. He would play the nickel role. He would play as a box safety. Miami's really leaning into the versatility that Zaquan Patterson brings to this Miami Hurricanes defense. And you take a look at this first rep. We're just going to play that free safety role, kind of single high look. We're going to keep our eyes on the quarterback. When that football is in the air, we are going to go up and make a play on the football. He's comfortable in the back end. I don't know if that's the best spot for Zaquan Patterson, but you make no mistake about it, he's very capable of doing it. I think this is probably where Zaquan Patterson excels as that box safety, right? He's 6 foot, he's 200 pounds. He is absolutely put together. Again, from a physicality standpoint, this kid looks like he's been on a college football program for multiple years, and he's really, really good in the tackle box, especially in run support. Not only because he's extremely physical, but he's got a really good feel in terms of picking through traffic and finding the ball carrier, right? Really, really good work at the second level, kind of getting off blocks. I think that's another thing that a lot of freshmen struggle with. He's just really hard for these guys to get to the second level and go put hands on. But again, finding the football, kind of that ability to go sideline to sideline, that's all over the film. Man, you kind of skip through a lot of this film. You see Zaquan Patterson really excel as this box safety, playing with good leverage, picking his way through traffic, and then obviously being physical at the point of attack. And I think the last thing that you're kind of intrigued by is what Zaquan Patterson can do in man coverage at that nickel role, where he's a guy that is going to be very, very sticky. He's going to be a guy that wants to put hands on opposing wide receivers, knock them off their route trees, and then when he has the ability to go up and make plays, he's certainly going to be doing that as well. And so you look at Zaquan Patterson, and again, the opportunity that is going to have, and I think more importantly, the value that he can bring to this Miami Hurricanes defense. This is one of those freshmen that I think is going to be counted on a lot for this Miami Hurricanes program, but I think more importantly is really going to be a key for this Miami Hurricanes defense, because you make no mistake about it, they're a little thin in the back end. There's not a ton of experience or proven production specifically at the safety position. If Zaquan Patterson comes in, has a really good fall camping, kind of emerges as a freshman that you can really rely on in the 2024 season, that might be the biggest storyline for the Miami Hurricanes. And look, I'm not trying to disrespect. You guys know how I feel about guys like Justin Scott or Marquise Lightfoot or Booker Pickett. I am big fans of a lot of the freshmen that Miami brought in, but a lot of those really good players just probably aren't going to have the opportunity or asked to have the opportunity to have year one impacts because Miami's so loaded at all of these other positions. They're going to have kind of that benefit of getting a year under your belt and kind of being year two players. I think the beauty with Zaquan Patterson is not only is Zaquan Patterson a guy that we knew was ready to play year one, I think he's going to have that opportunity to play for year one in the Miami Hurricanes. And again, I think he's one of the keys to this Miami Hurricanes secondary. You can play him all over the football field. He can do a lot of different things. And if you get year one production from Zaquan Patterson, and again, Miami's had some success with true freshmen. Obviously, guys like Ruben Bain last year, that's a massive storyline for Miami. Maybe one of the more intriguing freshmen heading into 2024. Would love to hear from you guys in the comments section. Again, appreciate you guys rocking with the fellas. If y'all do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.